Life in today's modern society is all about finding ways to deal with constant change. Multitasking our media has become a regularly feature of everyday life. The potential power of people to shape their lives and identities can be found in the assumption that people produce themselves in media. This perhaps may additionally explain why people do not recognize their media habits because they are constitutive part of them. The Truman Show delusion states that there is an issue that our life cannot be separated from the media. Metaphorically talking, we are now all living inside our own Truman Show. We accept the reality of the world with which we are presented, as the movie says. This staged reality bears a resemblance to Plato's allegory of the cave. Also, using the Truman Show as a metaphor for living a media life, we have to note that the ending of the movie might be the only unrealistic thing about the movie, as in our fully mediated existence, escape is impossible. The author argues that media cannot be conceived as a separate to us, to the extent that we live in media rather than with media. The networked, individualist and personalized information space that digital natives have created for themselves and which constitutes their everyday reality influences their lives. So in order to approach these digital natives, we have to develop new ways of knowledge building. Sustained knowledge advancement is essential for social progress. Educational approaches have changed in response to some of these developments. There is a greater emphasis on collaborative rather than individual inquiry. In education, most in the 20th century was occupied with efforts to shift from a didactic approach focused on the transmission of knowledge and skills to what is popularly called active learning, where the focus is on students' interest-driven activities that are generative of knowledge and competence. The 20th century has been characterized by a shift from instructivism to developmentalism, a societal shift that puts the emphasis on the ability of organizations and whole societies to create new knowledge and achieve new competencies. The new challenge is initiating the young into a culture devoted to creating organizations and disciplines. In order for this to happen, we need to believe that the students are capable of doing it and that it is helpful. The way we think and talk about knowledge when practicing knowledge management is determined by the conceptual structure we have in our brain for the idea of knowledge. This conceptual structure is formed by metaphor. What is important to see is that knowledge is not literally acquired and stored. The choice of knowledge metaphor is often not a conscious decision, as metaphors are part of the conceptual systems in our cognitive unconscious. Metaphors play an important role in theorizing about organizations, and they are inescapable because they are the basis of abstract reasoning. Metaphors are conceptual by nature and feed and structure abstract thought. The metaphors we use in knowledge management theory and practice to conceptualize knowledge have a huge impact on how we diagnose the knowledge management situation in organizations and what we propose as solutions or improvements. Possibilities of visual data have been extensively used in the social sciences since the midst of the 19th century, especially in social and cultural anthropology, ethnology, and folklore studies. Modern societies are characterized by the increase of mediated and visualized forms of communication. These ongoing changes impact deeply on social relations. Media products not only increasingly surround people in their everyday life, but photographs, movies, TV broadcasts, video production, and virtual computer worlds influence their perception of reality fundamentally. Genre analysis and video have recently been developed as procedures for the generation, documentation, and understanding of audiovisual data. So how can we apply visual communication to our daily lives? Well, story can be defined as a series of events, and storytelling can be defined as relating series of events. In a story, casualty is involved in some way, along the lines A leads to B leads to C leads to D, etc. Stories are pieces of art and can serve as a basis of games. We can study how a story is told, performed, presented, which is called a presentation analysis, and we can study the actual content of the story, which is content analysis.
Created using Powtoon.